Real talk. 1, 2, 3. You don't really.
Yo, this is Clinton, the Hip Hop Hercules, the Hip Hop Historian, and I'm here to talk to you about Common's new album, Nobody's Smiling. Let's get it reviewed. What's up?
About being fair.
Have you ever heard of Blackstone around Blackstones and 4CHs, Vice Lord, Stony Island, Oasis?
Common is a legend and is always in the top quarters with the kings of the genre, and this album just reinsures that state that he holds, because lyrically on this tape he is extremely different than he's been on any other tape. Mostly he sticks to a simple idea and a very general, broad idea for an album and creates a beautiful painting out of it. The Dreamer, the Believer, the Circus, all of his albums. Even from Can I Borrow a Dollar? But to me, this album is most reminiscent lyrically of Can I Borrow a Dollar, because he's got two subjects. The two subjects are Chicago, which he paints as a picture, and of himself, or himself acting out as others, rapping as if he is one of these kids in the streets. What we forget a lot is that rappers are the CNN of the projects, of the ghettos, of the urbans, and of the slums. And what he does is what these artists have done throughout history, the Notorious B.I.G.'s, the Tupacs. He's rapping as in the mind state of these people living in the streets. Lyrically, he does an amazing job. He has several different concepts, all within this broad structure, and he's not going for crazy punchlines, but he's still, within the words, he still has double entendres while describing and painting this picture of Chicago, his hometown. And he does it in a beautiful, poetic way, still while not holding back to the truth and the disturbing reality that there is in the slums.
Should it be? Can it be simple? Life is like the tempo of a no-I instrumental.
I think this album is extremely original because it's taken hip-hop back to its origins, not only instrumentally wise with the boom bap style, but also he is rapping about his home surroundings. He doesn't talk much about himself and his progress and his money or anything of that sort. He's barely, there's few bars on few tracks where he's actually talking about himself. He has concepts such as how he misses Jay Dilla, one of the greatest producers ever to breathe, one of the greatest musicians ever to breathe. He talks about how a woman can hustle harder than a man, and he paints that picture so beautifully on Hustle Harder. And he has concepts such as a kid that believes in money and the struggle and the survival, and takes God out of his picture, but then finds out and realizes that it's not worth it. He talks about Chicago as a city. Why does it have to be this way? But this is the reality, and he explains to you the struggles, the political issues that involved to make it so. But like I said, he's bringing it back to the origins. Half of the verses on a song could be about describing the surroundings, and then the other half will be about himself or a personality that lives among these streets. It's beautiful, and it is original. It's a painting. The whole album is. Instrumentally, it's definitely successful. I mean, it's No ID executive production. No ID and Common have worked together since the beginning of Common's career. He signed to his subgenre label at Def Jam, and No ID just created a picture that him and Common could both work off of and base this incredible album. They painted this boom bap. Tons of the records are like boom bap for half the verse, and then drops into a soulful sample or a rhythmic synth. But for the most part, it's old school. That's what brings the originality out, is tons of the instrumentals are these old school instrumentals that cats used to in the old days of hip hop would talk about the same topics that he's talking about. So, like, I can't say it enough, the originality comes from the origins, and he's bringing that spark back. He's paying homage to his city and to the people that brought him up in his city and the people that started hip hop in general. No ID, he crushed it. He crushed it as he always does with that pure hip hop sound, the MP boards, the beautiful boom bap sounds, but that are still original. Incredible.
Black girl, I lost to break bread with the stones. I'm the rock of Gibraltar, salt of the earth for what it's worth, yo. From birth.
Common's flow is Common's flow. He never changes up to an extreme, but he's always so clear, so precise. His words come out perfectly. He hits every last rhythm to the end of a bar, and you know exactly what he's saying. You're not going to miss out on anything. Not only that, he's got the smooth, dope voice that's made his career the way it is this whole entire time. And I think that he has the ability to slow down, although the beat stays the same, and then make quicker bars while the beat is still at the same tempo. He just knows how to run tracks, and I think him and No ID together will make for a perfect flow because of their chemistry, and that's just how it is. Flow is dope. I mean, it's real hip hop. It's old school hip hop. I want you to hear what I'm saying. I'm not trying to do rhythmic circles around you because my talent lies within my lyrics. So his flow shows us and makes it transparent as to hear what he wants us to hear.
Tags, just big ass trash bags tagged hash. Out here shit been trio.
The features are dope. I mean, Cocaine 80s helps No ID on production sense with bringing in different synths and samples, and then you have awesome singers like Elijah Blake with his soulful sound. He only had a few bar chorus, but he sounded beautiful. He brought out that soulfulness to help uplift the song. Jhené Aiko, of course, kills it. She's got very subtle transparency at the beginning of the track that she's on, but then she gets to spit about 8 bars at the ending, and she sounds great. She didn't push vocality to the level that I know she has the ability to, but she rhythmically matched up to the song and made it awesome and ended it off in a great way. Malik Yusuf really came out hard. His verse was incredible. I thought that was dope to hear him in that realm. Lil Herb, I was really surprised. He didn't spit anything amazing, but it wasn't that entire ghetto mentality that he usually sticks to. I think he knew who he was collaborating with and what he had to bring to the table in order to make it that fitting verse. Aside from that, Big Sean wasn't an incredible verse. He made the chorus a little cool sounding, but his verse was, mediocre, and it matched what he does. Snow Allegra made a dope ass bridge and chorus on the track Hustle Harder, my favorite track on the album. And I gotta look into her. I don't know that much about her. Dreezy, I've been hearing songs pop up from her, and I was happy with her because we could use a lot more female vocal presence in verses and rapping, and she did a cool little thing on Hustle Harder. Lyrically, I mean, feature wise, it was strong. Vince Staples, you gotta admire him. He knows how to work under any environment, under any instrumental, and he proves that. He's got a soulful, loud, banging sample behind him, but he still brings his presence. He makes it match. It sounds like a church choir mixed with hip hop, and that's what helps bring this whole picture together. So the features, were nothing that degraded this album, but helped bring it out. Overall, I think this is not a good album, a great album, but I think it is an amazing, verging, groundbreaking album. And when I say groundbreaking, we're talking about a man that's been doing this since before 92. But I do have a bias towards his music because I think he is so incredible in the originality and the focus that he brings to paying homage to the old school. And as a part of the old school, he is a legend. And this album is, as we've heard on the news every day about Chicago, we hear about it through hip hop strongly because of the rising of multiple different artists from Chicago. This year, we had tons of freshman class kids that are from Chicago, and they show us that light, the violence, and the struggle that comes from it. Now you get to hear a veteran really paint an entire 13-track, including bonus track album about this city, where he came from, the south side of this gritty city. 80 murders a day. I mean, he shows us and explains to us why this is why it is. And I was really happy for him to do that in original, old school, homage paying way. Totally dope album. Cop it. Please pay for it. because Chicago, Chicago needs this to be shown. This is a great relic. CNN can't tell you everything. Chance the Rapper isn't going to tell you what Common will. Common with this album definitely locks his spot in the maybe top 5, top 6 in history, and that will stay that way until somebody, falls down or somebody steps up.
French press code. She queen bee by the way she wear her go. Honey getting money, the ass